You're listening to Radio Podcast. 21st Century Entrepreneurship. One of the ways you can experience a person is expert in their niche is by natural flow, simplicity and straight to the point answers, no matter the question. Interviewing Sandra, I realized she is not only marketing, copywriter and digital project manager expert, but natural born one as well. Her clients describe her as first-rate professional social media consultant, very creative, intelligent, detail-oriented, driven and hardworking, with numerous goal achievements such as great social media marketing plan, network growth or website improvement. Hi Sandra.
Hi Martin.
What is your daily here and now? Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Sandra Smith and I am a marketing consultant, copywriter and digital project manager. Based here in the UK, down in Devon, in the southwest of England. And I've been freelance on and off for about 9 years now, but I've been working sort of in this current guise of Sandra Smith Marketing just since the beginning of this year. I launched my website around about Christmas time, and I've just been slowly building it up. Because I've chosen to use a blog as my homepage, the content's always fresh and it gives people reason to keep coming back and checking in with me.
And what the homepage is?
It's sandrasmith.co.co.
You're actually writing as well.
Yes, I am a writer as well as marketing consultant. For me, the two really go hand in hand, because you can't have good marketing without good copy. So with the kind of content marketing push of the last 5 years or so, it's become more and more important to either write yourself or hire someone that can write for you. Manage your blog, put out blogs 2 or 3 times a week, which is the recommended amount by companies like HubSpot. Companies that blog 3 times a week see about a 50% increase in traffic, according to HubSpot's figures, over those that don't blog. And it makes sense.
So you have some kind of packages, bundles. How is it working?
I do custom tailor my package to meet the needs, because a lot of it will depend on the industry. Everyone has a specialist industry that they work in, whether it's photography, solar energy. Depending on my familiarity with it, depends on the rate I will charge. If it's a more technical offer, then obviously I'll have to do more research and spend more time kind of immersing myself in that industry before I can write intelligently about it.
So you analyze it, okay.
So I might charge a slightly higher rate to a solar energy company than I would to, say, another marketing agency.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Topics, I'm already au fait with. But so I try to be very flexible. I do have some kind of baseline packages that I offer, which include blogging and then the social media management side of things on top of it. That's also something that, busy professionals, small business owners don't have the time for.
Yeah, they have some completely different focus. That sounds very interesting. Can you share with us some success stories?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got two that I've got up on my website actually. So they're under the client section, but I can give you just a brief overview of one of them or both of them. But one was a data scientist that I worked with recently. He's based out of Seattle and really super smart guy, member of Mensa, worked for Microsoft previously as a program manager, got his PhD from Birkbeck in London, which is a bit of a coincidence because I actually did a course there when I was studying history at King's. So that was funny that we met on BB, social networking site I'm an ambassador of, and we had some things in common. He did his PhD in machine learning, and I actually worked for a company that was using machine learning for advertising. So we hit it off on BB, and then he said, "Hey, can you help me do more to get video views on the videos that he produced for O'Reilly Safari?" Because he obviously gets paid commissions depending on how many times those videos are viewed. So they're really good videos, very informative, but also anyone can understand them, don't have to be a data scientist. He's really good at kind of putting very difficult concepts into layman's terms. So I said, sure, I can get you some more views. So what we did is ran a month test, and just, that was kind of all he had budget for at that time. And because he was on a tight budget, he didn't want to do any paid ads to start, if possible. So it was all social media juice, if you like. Yeah, I was able to get him about 17, nearly 1,800 clicks just in a month-long period. And some of those went to his blog, which he also wanted his traffic. And then a lot of those went to, obviously, video views. And then the rest went to social media pages that I helped him set up and kind of make a bit more branding around, because he hadn't really put up a branded header. So I just kind of gave him more of a presence online. And then obviously my work paid for itself in terms of the increased commissions he got from the video views. So that's an example.
So he was able to see the return of investment, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't press him too much on what exactly his margin is. I don't need to know that. I just need to know what my client, what their KPI is that they're working towards. So are they working towards increased sales? Are they working towards increase in leads? Or in this case, it was an increase in video views. And I will just create programs around whatever that target is. Use my kind of 15-year experience to know what's going to work well. So for him, Twitter was a big driver. LinkedIn turned out to be a really big driver. LinkedIn groups, and then also email marketing, emailing out to all the different contacts in his network, telling them to go check out some of his videos.
As we are speaking about entrepreneurs' challenges they are facing in the 21st century reality, what do you experience from your perspective, globally speaking, are some of those challenges?
The client side, and also the people in my network who have gone ahead and actually, created an app or created a social networking site or whatever their idea is, and they've actually brought that to market. I think the main problem is getting seed funding, or once they're past the seed stage, getting additional rounds of funding. That's always going to be a challenge. Even though here in the UK, and I'm sure it's the same throughout most of Europe, there are a lot of government programs in place now because government realizes that startups can turn into these billion-dollar unicorns and end up, employing tens of thousands of people. Of course, it's just choosing the right ones to back. But, I think it's less the case in America where you get funded. Over here, the government, will back you up, assuming that you've got a business model that,
From my point of view, from my experience, a lot of entrepreneurs are by themselves. They are
Yeah.
alone. So, and your one of your expertise is social mass media. If I understand that well, networking is very important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say, is that if you don't already have investors or angel investors or VCs in your network, then obviously getting funding is going to be a challenge for you. You might have a great app or a brilliant idea that's solving a great problem, but to take it to the next level, first you need to get that investment so you can hire a full-time engineer. They don't come cheap, but then you also have to obviously sell your app and get those first 2 or 3 big clients in the door that you can then, run case studies and success stories and press releases and all that good stuff. And they will then sort of prove that, you're on the right track. You've created something that people want and it's valuable. But there, it's ongoing from there, really. And that's kind of where I come in. I help them get more exposure, mainly online. Just kind of help them when they're in that launch mode and they want to kind of progress to establish, building their reputation up, building their search engine result placements up so that they're starting to challenge whoever is the established companies in their field. The best way to do that is to knock them off the top spot in Google if you can. But it's not easy because Google's always going to rank content that, is seen as authoritative. There's not much you can do in terms of SEO trickery these days. What you can do is put out fresh content, well-written content, interesting, shareable content, and Google will favor that fresh content above something that's 2 or 3 years old. So you can be smart and strategic about knocking off your competitors off the front page, but it does just take a bit more thought and, maybe speaking to someone like me who can come in, do the research that on your keywords and phrases, and then kind of come in and help you devise a plan of attack.
So just producing links is not a good strategy anymore.
It's not as good as it was. It doesn't matter so much how many links. They have to be authoritative links. And a lot more the algorithms are looking at your social media presence. So if you've only got 100 followers on Twitter and Facebook, that's going to factor into how high up your profile is going to rank when someone types in your company name or your industry.
You told us you are ambassador of BB. Is that a network platform as well?
Yeah, it is. It's not like Google. It's more of a cross between Facebook and LinkedIn. And the idea of BB is that you can be yourself, your work self and your personal self as one on BB. You don't have to kind of switch personas like you do on the other platforms. On LinkedIn, I share work-related or one type of content. and then on Facebook is obviously a completely different type. Well, BB's kind of meeting in the middle, saying, just be yourself, build your personal brand, and you actually will have a stronger personal brand and a stronger network if you're connected to people that you have similar interests in. You might not work in the same industry, or you might be in completely different countries, completely different stages of your career. But if you have commonality, whether it's work or personal related, that makes for longer lasting, more rewarding kind of social engagement.
Most of people are always talking about mainstream, LinkedIn, Facebook, Skype. Are there some newcomers?
Well, yes, BB, who I mentioned already, it's great for bloggers because bloggers now have readers, because BB shows everyone who follows you, you get an update that you've posted a blog. Well, that's obviously not the case on LinkedIn anymore because they're trying to get back to the business basics. They've kind of limited, how many bloggers get page views, quite frankly. You can see the contrast in numbers to where, I used to get 60, 70 readers, 5, 10 likes, and now it's like 1 or 2 views. But BB is the opposite. BB, I started my account about a year ago, but I only really started putting content on there regularly about 3 months ago. And, if I get less than 1,000, I think, views, I think that's actually a bad result. Not a bad result. I just think, oh, well, that didn't do as well as I thought it might. But, some of my posts on there have got 3,000-4,000 views now. Tons of engagement, tons of positive feedback and, good conversations. And as a result of that, I've actually made not only friends all around the world, but also business contacts. And the client that I mentioned earlier, the data scientist, I met him on BB. So it does work.
Sandy, what would you advise independent professionals or SMEs to get in advantage?
Yeah, I think all this talk about personal brands these days, it is relevant. I mean, some people will kind of eye roll when they hear or see people talking about personal brand. They think maybe it's another made up kind of concept by these social media gurus and whatnot. But I can see why they may think that. But the fact is that everyone does have a personal brand now. If you've ever commented, as Gary Vaynerchuk said, if you've ever commented online on anything or ever created a social media profile, you have a personal brand, whether you want to or not. So, it's more relevant for individual business owners to kind of take stock of what their personal brand is. I do that as well. I consult with people on what their personal brand is currently saying to the world, and I also give them suggestions for improvement. And it's not normally like the things that you might associate, like, oh, get a better profile pic, although, I might say that too, to be fair, but it's more stuff like, well, have you tried creating a blog? Because a blog is the best place to not only soundboard out your own thinking on different topics, but tell the world kind of what you think and why you think that. And it gives people insight into who you are. In no, the next best thing would be to meet you in person and sit there talking to you for hours, which isn't really practical in today's world. So the next best thing, well, I'm gonna read your blog. So that's why BB is kind of cropped up and why so much of the site is dedicated to blogging, because that's really kind of the centerpiece of personal brand, is what you have to say. And can you say it in an eloquent fashion? Can you say it in a way that is convincing? Can you win people over to your point of view? Well, if you answer yes to all of those things, then you might be someone I want to work with, or employ into my organization. So that's why personal brand is so important now. And it doesn't have to be a written blog. It can be a podcast like what you're doing, or you can have a YouTube channel. Anything that kind of just showcases you really, and puts your ideas out there into the world, so you don't come across as just kind of another sheep, chained to your desk and plodding along in your career, kind of doing it in a bit of a blinkered fashion where you're not really awake as to what's going on maybe in the industry or in the world in general. And that might suit some organizations. They don't want you to think too much, they just want you to do.
Hmm.
But if you're going for more of a sort of managerial senior level, then I think they are going to want you to have opinions and be able to back up your opinions with evidence, or at least experience. So that's what I would suggest to people like me and you who are kind of building up our own business, is
Hmm.
start with you. Take time to do a blog. It doesn't take as long as you think, and actually it can get quite addictive once you start.
I learned a lot today from you, Sandra, and wish you all the best with your business. Keep in touch and looking forward our next interview.
Thanks, Martin.